Hello and welcome to the Rope Access and Climbing Podcast, YouTube edition. I'm your host, Mikey Stevenson, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to clean an anchor to rappel. If this is your first time here, please make sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. On to today's episode, we're chatting about how to clean a top rope climbing anchor to rappel. If you haven't seen our last episode where we talked about how to clean a top rope climbing anchor to lower, please check out the description as I will leave the link to that video down below.
All right, so I got the quick draws here. I got my chains. What I'm gonna do is untie this rope, feed it through. Now, I wanna make sure, number one, is I don't drop the rope. Being up here by myself with no rope is not a good situation, so we have to make sure that we mitigate that with the proper pieces of equipment. Before we talked about being lowered down, now we're going to step away from that and actually rappel ourselves here. So I got a standard sport climbing anchor here. I'm going to clean this up. Gear that I require for this is 2 quick draws, an ATC of some sort that allows you to rappel. Prusik cord of some sort. This is a pre-manufactured, pre-sewn continuous loop made by Sterling. Great piece of kit. Highly recommended. It packs away nicely. As well, I have a additional spare locking carabiner. Never know when this comes into play. It's always handy to have. So, one of the first things I want to pay attention to here is securing myself when I get up here. Next is I want to make sure that I'm not going to drop my rope, so I got to mitigate that somehow. And finally is communication. Communication is key. This is one of the leading causes of injuries and deaths when it comes to rappelling, is the lack thereof communication. So when you do your belay tests, you say on belay, off belay, correct? We don't mix it up. It's on belay, off belay, climbing, climb on, etc., etc. Now, when people use the word secure, that is an interesting word because so many people have different interpretations of what that means. So what I want to make sure here is when I'm up here and I am attached in a safe manner, I want to tell my belayer that I want them to come off belay, and then they're going to relay that back to me. Okay, there's going to be no mixed match of words. All right, so let's get started. So I get up to the top. First thing first here is attach myself to this anchor. So I'm going to take one quick draw, attach it to my belay loop. I'm going to attach that quick draw to both of the existing quick draws. Now, because I'm going to be detaching from this rope, I want to make sure that I have redundancy from the bolts to my harness. So I'm going to use the second quick draw. Now this one is going to go opposing gates to the first one. I'm also going to attach that to both carabiners. Okay, great. So I have 2 quick draws all the way from my belay loop right to the anchor. Now, I did mention I don't want to drop this rope. Unfortunately, I do have to untie this, so I'm going to pull up a little bit of slack here. All right, I'm going to tie any old knot in here. I'm going to tie a figure 8 on a bite. Everyone knows that. I'm going to take my locking carabiner and just attach that back to my harness so I can't drop it. At that point, then I can untie this rope. At this point, this is the time I would be yelling down to my belayer to come off belay. All right. So untie all this. I'm going to undo that. Okay, so now that rope is free. It is attached to my harness there. Okay, so I'm going to take the tail of the rope, feed it through the quick links here. And before I go any further, I want to make sure that I have a stopper knot at the end of my rope. Okay, excellent. Now that will also prevent it from coming back through. Okay, very important detail. All right, now I'm going to pull this through. All right, so get up here. Now I'm going to untie this knot. At this point, I don't have the ability to drop the rope, so I'm not worried about that. And now, next I have to pull all this rope through. I'm only going to pull until I get to the halfway marker on my rope. So some ropes are do-it-des, meaning that there's two different patterns on the rope. That'll tell you where the middle marker is. Other companies actually put a mark, like a black Sharpie, please don't use Sharpie, on the rope. Otherwise, you're gonna have to get to the tails of the rope. So in my case, I don't have a center point, so I'm gonna work my way to the other side where that stopper knot is, and then work back. All right, so there's the end of the rope. Now, unfortunately, this is a little bit more time consuming, going from tail to tail and then back into the center, but you wanna make sure that these ropes are even, or at least that you have enough rope to get it back to the ground. All right, so there. Now I've made it to the center of my rope. Okay, so I'm going to attach my belay device here, and I'm gonna take a bite of rope. I'm gonna feed this into my belay device. Now, I don't want to drop, especially if I'm on a multi-pitch climb, I do not want to drop my belay device. So I'm going to take the loop, pull it all the way out to the one side where the gate of my carabiner is, open that gate, never allowing that belay device to come off the carabiner. Okay, I'm going to pull this around. All right, excellent. So now I'm pre-rigged, so I've got the rope going through both these quick links into my belay device and down. Now, I want a safety, all right, that's important. That's why I have this Prusik here. Now, if you have fixed leg loops on your harness, you can attach this to your leg loops. If you do not, then you may have to extend the belay device off your belay loop, attach the Prusik directly to the belay loop. But in my case, I have fixed leg loops, so I'm just going to attach the carabiner to the fixed leg loop. Okay, I'm going to wrap this around 3 times and then clip it back to itself. Okay, so adjust this until there's all my weight is on the belay device. I'm going to adjust my Prusik. That's going to hold me in place. Okay, excellent. So now I can remove my quick draws from my sport anchor. Okay, depending on how messy it is, you can definitely sit back here and clean it up a little bit. Excellent. And once you've done that, now you can rappel out. All right, so like I said before, if I had to attach the Prusik to the belay loop, I do have a double length sling here with a knot. All right, I'm going to tidy this up and kind of show you what that looks like a little bit better. All right, so what I have here is a double length sling, okay, with a figure 8 on a bite, locking carabiner. This is obviously helpful. I can just attach that there and know that I'm attached to the anchor. But I'm extending my belay device, and that's just jamming up there, giving me that distance to put that Prusik on the belay loop here, okay? So if I were done, I just disattach that and just clip it to the carabiner here. Now I can manage my Prusik here just like normal. Doing it this way with the quick draws is exactly the same way as if you were to do it with a sling or any type of cordelette. All right, you got to make sure that you are attached to the anchor, you have good communication with your belayer, and you put a mitigation in there to avoid dropping the rope.
Well, thank you very much for tuning into today's episode. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. We have plenty more of these videos coming out every Sunday.